Hello everyone. In the previous video we learned that how we can bind our interface with the repository, right? And we are able to get the interface object here, and then we assign this to a public property, and we assign this value to this public property, and then we are accessing the interface method from this public property. So this user, and this is basically calling this user interface all method. So we are getting all the users here, right? So now our logic is separate. We are just calling this all method. We are not getting the users here in this controller, because our controllers is responsible for single functionality, right? So we separated our logic into the repository, and then we created an interface, and we connected interface with the repository, and then we are accessing it using this public property, and we are getting all the user here. So now this one would be good, right? So now the point comes that how we can store these values into our controller using this repository, right? So it's also same. So now let's go to the interface. So I'm going to this interface, and here interface I'm going to implement this public function, and then I'm going to call this store, and then this store is going to accept the array, because we are going to pass the user array, user name, user email, password, and stuff like that. So I'm naming this data, right? So in the repository, now let's not this repository, oops. So let me cancel the call here. So this one is a repository service provider. So let me close this one, because this is now binded, so we don't need to bind it for every method. So this is binded for this full class, right? So we created this store method here, and we need to create this into the user repository also. So here now it's throwing the error that you need to implement this store here, right? So here I'm going to implement this store public function store, and then this store accept what? This store is going to accept the data, right? So this would be, you can also define here array like this, and then you can save your values here, right? So this will get the data. So first we are going to dd this data, right? And then we are going to save this into the database. So now let's go here and add this user. So when we when we are going to save this user, so it's going to print this user, right? Let's click on this fake filler Chrome extension, and if you are not familiar with this one, this is the Google Chrome extension which is used to fill our input fields, right? Let's click on this submit. Okay, wait for a moment, and it's returned back, and it means that it's saved. Oh, why it's saved? Because in the controller we have defined this user here, right? So we need to first call this method here, and then we are going to and then we are able to call this method here. So first I'm going to this user repository, and here I'm going to save this user here, right? I need to type this data here, data. Basically we are getting this data, and then oops, why I copy this create all? Oh, I need to create this oh, it's array. So let me do this in the custom array. I'm going to store the name like this data, and in the data I'm going to get the name like this, right? Like this, like this. So first would be the name, second would be the email, and third would be the password, right? Password, oops, let me make it correct. Okay, password, and after this I'm going to return this, right? So here let me add this return. I can create the user variable here, and then I can return it in the new line, because but I'm doing this for time saving, right? So I'm returning this user from this store, right? And when this store will be called, so here let's go here and now implement this, and then this would be for this store, and in the store I'm going to pass this request, and in the request I need to pass I can pass the request all, or I need to pass the custom array here, right? So let me dd this request. Oh my god, it's mean that this test, and then I forgot to call this test method, right? So here I need to type this test, and then I'm going to call this store, and in the store I'm going to call this here, what's the name of this one? So first I need to pass the request all object, right? So let's call this request all here, and yes, now it's good. So let's go back and give it a refresh here. So hope it's going to work. If it's not going to work, we will fix this issue, right? So it's our video is also going bigger, undefined properties. So let me view it, that what's the issue, and then we are going to fix this. Undefined property user controller add test. Oops, I think I added this test here. I need to add this user, right? Because we added this user at the top like this, right? So let's give it a refresh and wait for a moment, and yes, we are returning all of these here. Why these are there? Because we are DDing it here. Save this one and let's give it a refresh. So now it's going to create the user, and then it's going to save this into the database, and yes, this user is created. So now I'm going to create a new user and then save this into the database. Okay, submit, and it's going to save this here into the database. Quimberry, it's weird name. Quimberry is added, right? So let me do everything again, repeat it for you. Okay, first we created the store method, which is accepting an array, right? And then we created the store, which is also accepting the array. You can also type it here. So which is accepting the data in the array form, and then we pulled these array and store them like this, email and password. Here we are getting this user and returning it here, right? And in the controller, by using this public property, we are using this call store method, and then we are passing this request all, mean we are passing name and password and stuff like that. And then we made our logic separate. So you can also create a validation request in the separate by using this command php artisan make request, and then you can define the request name, right? So hope you like this video. If you like this video, please subscribe the YouTube channel and stay connected. Bye bye.